And Indiana has done it. Their first ever Commissioner's Cup championship, knocking off the Minnesota Lynx. This is Howard setting up McDonald, knocking down the tray. Finds a cutting McDonald, easy deuce.
You're not gonna believe what just went down in the WNBA. The Indiana Fever, without their biggest weapon Caitlin Clark at full strength, left hanging by veteran Wnba and up against the league's most dangerous squad, the Minnesota Lynx, led by MVP frontrunner Napheesa Collier. This was supposed to be a blowout, a humiliation, but instead, the Fever flipped the script. They played with heart, with grit, and with something you can't teach: fire. Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Natasha Howard absolutely took over, putting on a clinic that stunned the entire league. That game wasn't just a win, it was a statement. It was the moment the Fever proved they're not just Caitlin Clark's team, they're a real contender. And after the final buzzer, Caitlin finally broke her silence. She said 6 simple words that perfectly summed up the moment, and you'll never forget them. If you're riding with the Fever, drop it in the comments. I've got the Fever. Let's go. Imagine this, the Indiana Fever step into the Target Center for their first ever Commissioner's Cup final, and their lineup is barely holding together. Their star, Caitlin Clark, the sophomore phenom who's carried the team all season long, was sidelined again, missing her 3rd straight game with a lingering groin injury. And this wasn't just any player, this was their top scorer, their floor general, and the face that's been filling arenas coast to coast. Her absence didn't just hurt, it left a massive void.
With Caitlin and her status, just how did she look? How did she feel today during shoot around? And is she making progress and getting closer to playing?
She's making progress. You know, I think, again, top of mind, I think I told you this afternoon, is just long term. You know, making sure that we don't have any setbacks. You know, making progress and feeling good are 2 different things. And we want to make sure that she feels good. We want to make sure that she's confident. We want to make sure that we're not putting her in a position to have any setbacks. And that's the priority right now.
And that wasn't the only setback the Fever were facing. Damiris Dantas was thousands of miles away, competing in the FIBA AmeriCup, leaving yet another gaping hole in an already thin rotation.
Listo. Hey Fever, good luck. I miss you.
And then there was the Wnba situation, a move that blindsided everyone. The Fever brought her in during the offseason for one reason: veteran leadership and stability. But what did she do? She walked away just 9 games into the season and got waived. Call it what you want, but that's straight up quitting on your team when they needed you the most.
Wnba was brought in for leadership. She was brought in for leadership. And do you want to know all that these young players learned from her? If things don't go your way, refuse to show up, continue to get paid a max contract while you are sitting out, refusing to play.
She got benched, she couldn't handle it, I want out. She's not playing well, she's getting criticized, I want out.
Now let's talk about who they were up against. This wasn't just any opponent. This was the Minnesota Lynx, and they were rolling. With a 14-4 record, they were sitting at the top of the WNBA and looking every bit like the league's most dominant team. Not only were they the defending Commissioner's Cup champions, but they were playing at home in front of a sold-out crowd buzzing with energy. And leading the charge, Napheesa Collier, the MVP frontrunner, absolutely locked in. Vegas didn't just favor the Lynx, they had them winning by 14 points. That's not a prediction, that's a message. The Fever weren't just underdogs, they were practically written off before the ball was even tipped. Analysts were already calling it a blowout, saying Indiana had no business being on that court without their stars. But that's the thing about counting out a team with something to prove.
Look pretty flawless, you know, in the way that they're playing. I don't know if different is the word as much as they look even more connected. You know, they're a team that was connected a year ago, but really the nuance of having each other's back on the defensive end, of knowing where your teammate's going to be, you know, discipline to coverages, the connectivity that they have on the offensive end of the floor. I mean, the way that they move with and without the ball, the way that the ball moves makes it really tough to cover. You know, I often say that offense is like a dance, and they are flowing, man. They are making music, and there's no doubt about it. So we have to try to be disruptive, and we have to try to take them out of that rhythm.
This was supposed to be the Fever's moment, their first ever appearance in the Commissioner's Cup final, but everything that could go wrong did. They were battered, short-handed, and under the brightest lights of their season. Every critic was circling, waiting for the collapse. The pressure was crushing, and everyone expected them to fold. It felt like David versus Goliath. Except this time, David showed up with a cracked slingshot, and half his squad had already walked off the battlefield. Now, here's where things started to fall apart. Without Caitlin Clark, the Fever looked like a completely different squad, and not in a good way. Coming into the Commissioner's Cup final, they had dropped 3 of their last 5 games, and not just lost, they blew double-digit leads in matchups they should have closed with ease. Their offense slowed to a crawl, completely killing the rhythm that had made them so dangerous earlier in the season. The ball stopped moving, the chemistry disappeared, and instead of playing as a team, players started going one-on-one, trying to play hero ball. It was plain to see. Wide open teammates were ignored. Contested shots went up instead of smart passes. They stopped trusting each other, and the result was chaos on the floor. This wasn't the same Fever team that had fans believing just a few weeks ago.
Coach, this is your first season with this batch of players, and so I'm just wondering if the Commissioner's Cup is just a stepping stone for greater things to come.
Well, I hope so. But at the same time, we want to take care of business now, right? We want to win a cup. So we're not looking at it necessarily as a stepping stone. We're looking at it as an opportunity to win. And then we're looking at it, as coaches, as an opportunity to continue to stack days. We haven't had a lot of consistency in our lineup, and so we haven't really built that camaraderie and connectedness that we need in order for us to be successful. But we can take another step towards growth. Another step towards consistency on the floor, in execution, in energy level. We're playing the best team in the league right now, and we've got to come out and we got to play our A game.
Let's talk about Aaliyah Boston, one of the Fever's biggest weapons. But without Caitlin Clark running the show, she wasn't getting the touches she needed to dominate. Boston is unstoppable when she gets the ball in her sweet spots down low, but instead of feeding the post, her teammates were chucking up rush shots from the perimeter. She'd establish perfect position, call for the ball, and get ignored. You could see the frustration all over her face. The team's identity completely gone without their floor general, because Clark didn't just score or rack up assists. She orchestrated everything. She kept the offense flowing, made sure everyone got involved, and controlled the tempo. Without her on the court, it felt like chaos. The Fever weren't just out of rhythm, they looked flat out lost, and opposing teams noticed. Defenses shifted all their focus to stopping Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, knowing they no longer had to worry about Clark slicing them apart with her passing.
What are some of the keys that you see as to how exactly you're going to do that, or what you guys need to do to approach the game successfully?
Yeah, I think we've got to be disruptive. We've got to make sure that we play with a level of physicality that doesn't allow them to just pass the ball around where everywhere that they want to pass it. So we've got to make sure that we're disruptive. We got to make sure that we're elite at our on-ball screen defense. This is a team that reads really well, that moves really well. We got to be elite at the point of attack on on-ball screen defense. We've got to. We always talk about guarding our yard, being able to guard one-on-one so we're not in rotation early. I think for us it's going to have to start on the defensive end of the floor, so that allows us to get out and run in transition as well. But we can't allow them to just do exactly what they want to do on the offensive end.
Anyone else? Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
This Commissioner's Cup final turned into a defining moment for the entire Fever squad. Could they rise to the occasion without their superstar? Could they get back to the unselfish ball movement and team-first mentality that made them so dangerous earlier in the season? That uncertainty, that tension, was exactly what made what happened next so unbelievable.
Head coach Stephanie White has a motto. She says, pressure is a privilege. You came into the former champion's house and took them down on their home floor.
How does it feel to bring Indiana their first championship?
It feels great. We knew that we had to come in here with energy. We know that they're a great team and they were going to go on runs. And so for us, it was about containing those runs and then going on our own.
What happened next? Straight goosebumps. The Indiana Fever chose to flip the script. From the opening tip-off, you could feel the shift. Something was different in their energy, in their focus. This wasn't the same shaken team we'd seen in recent games. They came out locked in, firing on all cylinders, determined to send a message and determined to win one for their injured star, Caitlin Clark.
What gave you the confidence to come in here and take down this team on their home floor?
We knew we were capable. God has equipped us. And so for us, about coming in here and doing what we know what to do. I think the entire game, coach just continued to instill that confidence, continue to tell us take it one possession at a time, and we did that.
The game plan was obviously to wall off the paint against you and Tosh, but both of you guys finished with double-doubles. How did you guys get freed up? And for you especially, how'd you get going late in this game?
I mean, it started with Tosh. Tosh, that entire first half and even that entire game, just really took it to them, made them have to guard. And so with her attacking from different angles, they had to space out a little bit. And that fourth quarter, I was able to score.
And finally, Aaliyah, what are you going to do with your prize money?
That's what we got out.
Congratulations, lady.
Kelsey Mitchell stepped up and owned the moment when it counted most. Right out of the gate, she attacked the rim with confidence, putting her offensive bag on full display in the first quarter. Mitchell kept slipping behind the defense, finding her spots beyond the three-point arc, and drilling shots with deadly efficiency. She shot a scorching 41% from deep, and the Lynx had no answer. Every quick release became a weapon, and the best part, she wasn't forcing a thing, just playing her game, calm, confident, and completely in control.
Corrals it out to Cunningham in the corner, got the three. Indiana on top.
And this is where things really got electric. Aaliyah Boston finally started getting touches in the right spots, and when she did, she absolutely went to work. She dropped a monster double-double, 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists, all while going head-to-head with all-star Nafisa Collier and holding her ground. You could literally see her confidence grow with every possession. After the game, Boston showed why she's a leader on and off the court. She said, "Everyone is important. I think everyone really played their role. We really handled that fourth quarter." But it wasn't just Boston making noise. Natasha Howard showed up like a woman on a mission, delivering an MVP caliber performance that flipped the entire game on its head. She walked away with Commissioner's Cup MVP honors, putting up 16 points, 12 boards, 4 assists, and 2 steals. A performance that nobody saw coming, but nobody will forget.
Howard finds it, cutting McDonald, easy deuce.
Beautiful read by Natasha Howard. And Ari McDonald, that opened up the three-point shot.
Howard to steal. Open floor in front of her, got the lay. Indiana battling.
This crowd is quiet. Natasha Howard is a former Defensive Player of the Year, knows the ball is coming to Nafisa Collier, just gets that deflection, gets going in the open court. And it is all Indiana in terms of the momentum in this game right now. This building is quiet.
She went a perfect 8 for 8 from the free throw line. Oh, pure ice in her veins when the pressure was highest. But it wasn't just the offense. Natasha Howard's defensive presence was huge. She took on the challenge of guarding Nafisa Collier, forcing tough looks all night and racking up 5 turnovers in the process. It was a dominant all-around performance. Exactly what the Fever needed at exactly the right time.
It was a team effort tonight, but with 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists, your MVP is Natasha Howard.
Sophie Cunningham came off the bench like a spark plug and lit the place up. She brought the exact energy the Fever needed, dropping 13 points, grabbing 7 rebounds, and knocking down 3 clutch triples that helped erase an early deficit. Her impact was instant, her timing was perfect, and her performance had the crowd on their feet, losing it.
Mitchell. Over to Cunningham, long range, bottoms! Big time trifecta, Sophie Cunningham.
Lexi Hull rose to the occasion and made it crystal clear. She belongs on this stage. She wasn't about to let the moment pass her by, and the newest addition, Ari McDonald, wasted no time making her presence felt. She dropped 12 points and brought the exact spark the Fever needed. Her return to the lineup couldn't have come at a better time. It was picture-perfect timing.
Finds Hull beyond the arc. It's score! Holson with the trifecta.
And that's how you do it.
Over to Cunningham, long range, bottoms!
A joint effort across the board. Everyone on this roster did their part tonight.
Suddenly, the Fever remembered who they were. The ball started flying around with purpose. The chemistry returned. And the result? 5 players scoring in double figures. A perfectly balanced attack. The offense was sharp. The defense? Absolutely relentless. They held the Minnesota Lynx to just 39 points over the final 3 quarters, locking them down to a brutal 34.9% shooting from the field. The crowd at Target Center tried to rally their team, roaring to life as Minnesota trimmed the lead to 7 in the 4th and forced a Fever timeout. But Indiana didn't blink. Aaliyah Boston answered with 2 quick buckets, followed by a clutch score from Ari McDonald, completely shutting down any hopes of a comeback. In the closing minutes, the Fever showed no mercy. They finished the job 74-59, stunning the entire basketball world. The underdogs had flipped the script. This wasn't just a win, it was a message. Heart, grit, and unity can defy the odds. The Fever didn't just survive, they conquered.
Coming into this, you talked about so much, hey, you got to have the right approach, don't trick this off, like have the focus. Take me inside that mindset of you guys coming into this game and how tonight was just a collective effort that got it done.
I describe this entire experience as a gut check experience, and I mean that intentionally. I mean physically, mentally, psychologically. It was a gut check moment today, and I think for us, it was about making sure we won those moments that mattered. And I thought down the stretch of the game, we did an unbelievable job of just staying together, weathering the storm, and kind of utilizing what we needed to based on our schemes and our personnel from practice. And I thought down the stretch of the game specifically, we bought in. All 5 of us, whoever was on the floor bought in, and I think you guys got to see that.
But here's where things got truly special. After the final buzzer, Caitlin Clark delivered just 6 words that summed it all up. Even though she couldn't take the floor due to a nagging groin injury, Clark wasn't just present, she was locked in. From the bench, she was constantly standing, cheering, coaching, and pushing her teammates every step of the way. The WNBA's own cameras caught her laser-focused intensity. Proof that even without playing, she was still leading. As the celebration kicked off and the team headed back to the locker room, the anticipation was electric. Everyone was waiting to hear what Clark had to say about one of the biggest wins in franchise history. And when she finally spoke, what came out of her mouth was absolute gold.
Guys, I just know everybody in the league is sick. They're pissed.
Man, I just know the whole league is sick. That's what Caitlin Clark said in the middle of the Fever's wild locker room celebration. And then she doubled down. Everybody in the league is sick. Just 6 words. But they hit hard. Clark didn't just stir the pot, she flipped it. Because let's be honest, jealousy in the WNBA has been simmering all season, and Clark finally said what everyone else was too scared to admit. The energy in that room was electric. Cameras captured Clark hoisting the Commissioner's Cup like a trophy and a chalice, sipping from it like royalty while laughing with her teammates. She even called out rookie Michaela Timpson in a hilarious moment that showed just how tight this team really is. Even sidelined, Clark was the emotional engine, backing her squad, hyping the celebration, and making it clear. This wasn't just a win, this was personal. It's the Fever versus everybody. And now the whole league knows it. This win wasn't just unexpected, it was a direct message to everyone who doubted them. The Indiana Fever didn't just pull off an upset, they flipped the entire script. Before the game, the media had already decided the outcome. ESPN even had a preloaded headline ready to go. Lynx dominate Fever to win Commissioner's Cup. They had to delete it and scramble to rewrite history after the final buzzer. That alone tells you how stunned the world was. To their credit, the Minnesota Lynx handled the loss with grace. Head coach Cheryl Reeve admitted it plainly. They just sort of beat us. That moment of honesty from a defending champ, that's real respect, and the Fever earned every ounce of it. They just showed the entire WNBA that they're built for way more than just one Cinderella moment. This is a squad with grit, chemistry, and depth. They didn't just survive without Caitlin Clark, they thrived. And when Clark comes back fully healthy, this team goes from dangerous to unstoppable. What we witnessed wasn't just a win, it was a warning shot. The Indiana Fever proved that no matter how many people count them out, no matter who walks away, and no matter how many injuries pile up, the real champions rise through the chaos and dominate it.
I know it's not a WNBA championship, but to celebrate a championship nonetheless on Target Center on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, we have a resilient group. You know, they're tough mentally, physically. They pull for one another. You know, I don't know if it's something that I learned that I didn't already know. It's just I'm proud for them that they can see it come to fruition. Being able to handle the ebbs and flows of the game, being able to give to one another regardless of struggles. I mean, we had some players that were struggling. We had some moments where we struggled, but we still gave to one another. And that's a growth area for our team. I felt like our execution through 3 quarters on both ends of the floor was really good against an outstanding team. I mean, I'm just really proud of this group.
The Indiana Fever just sent a message loud and clear to the entire WNBA. Never underestimate a team with heart, grit, and something to prove. They showed the world that true championship DNA isn't built around just one superstar. It's about every single player stepping up when the pressure's highest. From Kelsey Mitchell lighting it up, to Aaliyah Boston dominating the paint, to Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, and Ari McDonald playing like veterans on a mission. This whole squad delivered. And now, 2025 just got real interesting, because when Caitlin Clark returns to this already dangerous roster, the league better be ready. They've proven they can win without her. Imagine what they'll do with her. If you're riding with the Fever, drop a comment. I've got the Fever. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on screen. We'll see you there.